after having a few conversations, I'll let the others join. Um, I think a way to address this part of that suddenly I'm in the practice, I'm doing everything fantastic, but this fear props up from nowhere. And suddenly it can be anything: fear of not being in a relationship, fear of not having enough money, fear of losing an opportunity, fear of so many things, fear of the world matters, fear of loved ones, fear of this, fear of that. So, what explains into this fear is there is this subtle sensation. And if you observe the sensation, Krishnamurti, a great teacher, actually teaches us. And if you observe the word fear, and when this both being separately witnessed, it can be just a sensation, and the word and your intellectuality move into it and start creating a story furthermore to be fear of. So today's practice is about how could we observe these things, and it's not about fear is totally gone or you're liberated. If you learn a word, if you learn a language, it does not totally wipe out. It is there. So it's trying to push it out of the word system and try to suppress the sensation of it is not the way to move and work through this. So today's practice will give you direction to work with this very gently, this quite conditioning part of fear. How can very gently have an approach of understanding and a realization that so that you are very gently liberated from that space. And for a lot of people, if fear is not there, they feel like the life is also not existing. So they get into think fear of things. They get into relationships that they are not meant to be in out of fear. Because you take bad decisions when you're in fear. You overdo things. You become a place of greed. So you see now there's a lot of ecosystem in this fear, not just one thing. And mind might say you're doing the right thing, you're doing the correct thing. Into life, there is no such a thing called right and wrong, as I always say. Um, so it has to be very gently realized things. It's not about talking about life in a philosophical way without not having the understanding of it. So we will bring a lot of these areas for you to just sit and relax and observe and very gently coming into a place of practice, of habituality that when these events happen, that you have a way of dealing with it. Saying that, taking a deep breath in, shoulders roll back. Hi, Matt. Good to see you. How is the father today? Oh, shoulders roll back. Maria is there, Lisa. Uh, very gently opening up the chest. Take a couple of more breathing, just as into a count of 6, and allow the breath to move out and very gently becoming the witness stage of it. So there is a doing, there is a witness. There is the instructions being taken, but there is an observer. so that you can very gently start observing and become responsible for this self. I'll move the camera towards Darren and very gently take a deep breath in, elongate the spine. If you're sitting, you're lying, that's fine. Just finding that space to be elongated. Create a little bit of space. And very gently twisting the spine to the right side, stomach pulled in. Take a deep breath in, back into the center. Change the formation of the legs. And twisting the spine to the left side, stomach pulled in. Now back into the center. Now very gently allow whatever your mind setting is in the moment without changing it, because you're not changing the thinking patterns. You're just observing it very gently. If there is nothing, you just observe the sensation of the breath. If there is nothing, observe where it is happening. Now, this is a great moment. When you start observing, you will come into the place of the fear. What is your fear of? Fear of death, fear of tomorrow, fear of a job or doing it, fear of losing a partner, fear of losing a position and a relationship that you have with someone, fear of losing the vitality. Be aware of it. Now, really, the word does not do anything for you at this moment, isn't it? Now, very gently take a deep breath in, shoulders relax, and release any tension. Now, if a reactive person you are, you will react to fear indifferently. The word itself, all those words and more words that I would say, fear of not being intellectual, fear of people judging you, not being great. Now, arms raised onto the crown, interlacing the fingers, palms facing up very gently. Stretch those elbows. Come to the practice without forcing anything to change. Now, very gently, palms onto the Namaskar position. Very gently breathe out, relax the arms onto the floor. Walk those palms very gently into the front. Releasing the tension. Allow the buttocks to drop a bit more deeper, opening up that knees and the hips. Releasing the tension that the body is carrying. Freedom from that fear, whether it's inward, whether it's outward. When you're free of these things, that's it. Does that means that you are free from everything so that you are not fear of, so you drive a car fast and hit a pole? No. When you're free from the sensation and you observe it, you're free from the thoughts and emotions, you will get a different level of intuitiveness to do this or don't do that. Now, God, you can just gently getting into that space. Palms facing up, shoulders relaxed, just open. Now, if things are not coming up for you, then don't force it. But is this space of your fears, is it a actuality? Or does it really exist without any stories or words? Because we are constantly reacting to words, stories, when someone says something or when something has happened. So most of the time we spend time in this illusion of communication with thoughts. Very gently walk those palms into the back, releasing the tension. Completely breathe out into a seated cat. Seated cow, tongue roll up onto the upper palate, energy gaze. So come into the space of opening up that throat chakra a little bit. You might have tension around the space of the throat. Breathe out, breathing in, tongue roll up onto the upper palate, energy gaze onto the left. Breathe out. Anus lock, navel lock, throat lock, hold the bandha. Release the tension of tomorrow. What is done, what is not done, has to be done, what has to be succeed, what has fallen, what is failing. Neutral spine. Very gently coming into a place of a cat, knees on the floor, palms onto the floor. So you're coming into a proper cat. You're untangling the ankles. You're opening up the toes. You're opening up the feet. You're arching the back. Drop the belly, tongue roll up. Without anus lock, navel lock. Drop the belly, tongue roll up, upper palate and the gaze onto the third eye. Neutral spine. Give a good rotation to the hips. Take a deep breath in, right arm reaching up to the ceiling. Into the back, touch the floor. Left arm reaching up to the ceiling, under the right armpit. Dropping that left shoulder blade. Now very gently observe that what is coming up for you. Years, generation, lineage of these psychological demands and frustrations. Now you're separating, as Krishnamurti says, the word of fear and its feel, sensation. Or for some of you, the word has, if it is ever have created that space of that sensation and the feeling. Maybe when you don't talk about the word, the feeling does not arise, or feeling arise, and then you go back into the wording. And once you have released the tension of those psychosomatic parts and coming into a neutral space of a body and a neutral space of observing mind, gently coming back, shoulders relaxed. Completely breathe out with the cat. Breathing in into a neutral spine, right arm reaching up to the ceiling of the left armpit. Now very gently observe what are you really fear of? What are you fear of going to lose? Now, nothing has lost at this very moment, so your loss has to be in the future, which if not has happened. So there may many more events can happen before that. But you're frustrated because you want to navigate a future which has not existed. You want to express yourself that you're preparing yourself out of fear to protect it. Back to the center. Completely breathe out to the cat. Push the hips into the front, then complete. Let the bum flat. Stretch the spine back. Completely breathe out. Palms facing up, releasing the tension. Now, if there's a chronic pain coming out of this thing, observe it. If there is something really deeply has happened to you, but the practice is your communicating, practice is your verbalizing. Realization is the part you're taking action, but without dramatically involving it. Now you have done something totally in your life and you're quite master at it, and there's nothing to worry about it, but your fear of maybe losing that of yourself. Makes sense? Or there is no reason this space exists for you. Fear. And you have find ways to overprotect it under the name of precaution, under the name of protecting. Palms facing down, crawling and bringing the chest into the front. So we are still on the observation stage. Of the belly, soften the hips, breathing in into a gentle cobra. We are not bringing a remedy into it because solution is always in this moment. It exists because you have brought a different color of fear into it, a sensation into it. So the solution is now the backdrop. But now if it is a sensation, you are working with the sensation. But if you give the word into it, then you are propelling with it, overlooking onto the left side. Back into the center, onto the right side. Back into the center. Now, everyone can get caught up in it. And you just try to articulate into word. And the moment you use that word, you have come into that whole area of fear. Now you are not only word, you're picturing it. You're picturing it, world is a miserable place. This person is that, this person is this. So just observe, as soon as you observe the word, take to slow down. Release the third eye onto the floor and take a moment to relax and come into that space of releasing the tension of the burden of that logic side of the mind. What happens when you're frightened? Your aura shrinks, your decision making becomes poor, your body goes into a stage of not functioning properly. And in that stage, everything is lost. So you take, in this stage, you take preliminary actions that you're thinking that is going to save you, but they're all coming from a place of fear. Now, palms back where the elbows are, breathing in into up face when you come and feel that gravitation pull of energy to elevate that energy. Breathe out towards the down face. Now, bend one knee at a time, and then toes pointing at each other, opening up the space of the hips, and release the tension of that word accumulating in sensation, whether it's the knees, whether it's the hips, whether it's the wrist. Now, when you come into the place of you understanding everything and everyone, there is no separation. Then there is no level to protect yourself from the other or the event. But the moment you start telling the story, it becomes fear. But if you don't name that space, then it is a sensation. And as anything, you gently allow the sensation. Now take a deep breath in, lifting up onto the toes, bend both knees and bringing the lower ribs onto the knees. And very gently walk those palms a tiny bit into the back, opening up into a greater down face. Now take a deep breath in, left leg up into the back, knee to the chest. Breathing in, stretch back, left knee to the left elbow. Stretch back, left knee to the right elbow. Breathing in, stretch back, left foot into the front. Right arm reaching up to the ceiling. Into the back, touch the floor. Breathing in, left arm reaching up to the ceiling. Into the back, opening up, opening up. We are doing a psychosomatic practice. Arm stretching to the back. Arms raise onto the crown after stretching the elbows. Taking the Garudasana right on the top. Taking a mudra to expand this practice. Whether you're sitting, whether you're doing the posture, just observe. Take a deep breath in, turn onto the right side, opening up, stroke the third eye, opening up onto the Virabhadrasana. Take a mudra of that is free from that shrinking, it is free from that blindness, it is free from that being paralyzed. Because you got this thought, suddenly it came up for you. Now, the more you talk words, do you create more feeling? Because if the feeling is coming up, it's like you're running and the heart is on its palpitation. But when you add a word into the heart, out of fear, it's a different palpitation. Gentle arch, elbow onto the knee, right arm, very gently stretching up, but release the tension of those fingers. Don't carry anything on those fingers because you're adding pressure onto those areas where energy needs, sensation needs to be flow in totality. Right, reaching into the front, very gently touch the floor. Left arm reaching up to the ceiling. opening up that rib cage, stretch back, opening up the space of the kidneys, touch the floor, drop the back knee onto the floor, holding onto the front knee, pushing the hip shoulders relax, arms stretch into the back, arms raised onto the ground, interlacing the fingers, palms facing up. 6 deep cycles of breath. Breathe. Breathe. Now this is a good time. Let the people assume about you in their own fictional story. Now you understand you, so you understand the other. Now you understand your mind, so you understand their mind. Because their minds, if they don't have a practice, their mind is more about their fears and their insecurities than your reality. Make sense? Palms on the floor. In your plank. Strong on the pelvic floor. Left knee onto the floor. Right arm reaching up to the ceiling. Breathe. Now, if you don't have the practice, what will happen? Then your desires, your overprotectiveness comes as greed. They're all leakages. And when the other person knows about that, they always try to talk to you from the fear is the way they're going to penetrate into you because they don't know any other way. Advertising do that, marketing do that. All these promising things are saying that. Insurance companies do that. What is the main purpose of it? Fear. Because they know how to work with your desires and greed. To overprotect something has not even happened into the future. I'm not saying to get out of it, I'm just saying to observe. Right reaching into the back touch. Drop the knees. Give a good rotation to the hips. Release the tension of these illusions that you call fear, pain. Wider rotation. From the space of digestion. Wider rotation. Knees wide apart. Very gently stretch the spine. So there is, if you're going through a genuine pain, a broken leg, in place of that, just allow the mind to not to connect the sensation with the word and depend on that perspective. Because it can bring you that blindness. It can bring you that shrinkage. Because you know everything is in a place of energy. So what you're witnessing is not done by the identity of you. Witnessing comes down to the purity of your spirit. It's just taking layers and layers of. When you take layers and layers of dead skin, past memories, past stories, what happened? It oxygenated and healthy in the present. So we all need that loofah to brush and release things that no longer serve us. Otherwise, we go further into the illusion. Starting with your identity, starting with overprotecting that space. Otherwise, it's about thoughts. regardless, until there is awareness. Palms facing down, crawling and bringing the chest into the front, breathing in into an up face. Breathing out towards the down face. Right leg up, right knee to the right chest. Breathing in, stretch back. Right knee to the right elbow. Breathing in, stretch back. Right knee to the left elbow. Breathing in, stretch back. Right foot into the front. Left arm reaching up to the ceiling. Observe and let the breath comes into the space of what you're creating. Let it complement the part of the truth that you're going through. Let that be the true success of that self-realization. You're in the process of that self-realizing. You can't keep on lying to yourself. Let reaching into the back touch. Right arm reaching up to the ceiling. Clench and unclench. Into the back. Touch the floor. Arm stretching to the back, interlacing the fingers. Arms rest onto the crown. Coming onto the Gardasana, right on the top. Sitting deeper. You can't find that level of bliss out of creating success, becoming better at things, becoming on top of things. Becoming top of things is you still have to become top of the next day. Otherwise, it will change again your perception about success. So see this dangling the carrot and you're quite wasted running behind. You stop, it stops. Makes sense? Opening up into the Virabhadrasana. Take a mudra. Because that's where the world is. Buy a nice car, buy a nice house, have a great partner, put some photos on the Instagram. This is giving this temporary effect. So the mind is programmed to think where the happiness is lying in a place of item, event. People forcing their life into these things. Gentle arch. Take a mudra to release your tension from that collective mainstream mentality. Gently coming back, elbow onto the knee, left arm reaching up to the ceiling, opening up, releasing any tension from anything that would leave those fingers, wrist, release. Reaching into the front touch, right arm reaching up to the ceiling, into the back touch. Or drop the back knee onto the floor, holding onto the front knee. Arms stretching to the back. Push the hips forward. Arms rest onto the ground. 6 deep cycles. Practice does not work because you're pouring good content into the wound. It does not work. You just have to come into that realization. You are the level of you are. You embracing the darkness of that mind that is conditioned. It's no point in washing it away. You just have to awake into that. And it's not a doing. You are the level of you are. So start embodying your life that you're learning from this teaching. It is pointless if you're mimicking the word and saying the same thing without having the change. Into a plank, strong on the pelvic floor. Push the hips back, push the hips into the front, push the hips back into the down face, into a plank, strong on the pelvic floor. Hold this body weight, embody the space, rub the knees, stretch the spine. Now, when the word is observed, sensation is observed without putting, you could see this flow, flow that communicates with you, flow that wakes you up, flow that whispers to you, your own divine flow. Just be gentle with the process. That's why when you are closer to a fire, you're in the space of the boiling. So that must be purification itself is happening for you. Just be with it. Don't try to numb the boiling. Don't try to take away from that process. Let these seasons pass through you. Season of fear coming to you, season of greed comes to you. Let them pass through you. Sensations or words for you. There is no need to look for fast cues. That's what we are conditioned to. That is, this whole culture is conditioned to have a fast cue. Marriage doesn't work, we divorce. I'm not saying to everybody, I'm just saying that. Partner doesn't work, let's get another. Job doesn't work, let's move on. There are pills of advice in every area that you're looking at now. Gently coming into a child pose. You need to do that purification that you're doing to the liver is also observed in the space of the mind. cannot just be supported by a diet, but there are so many other things. Not that it's not important. You have to find the right space where people in this level meet and gather. Wake up the spine one vertebra at a time. Shoulders relax, just open. Coming into a place of admitting things as they are. Just the moment of reflection. Awareness into the space of even the darkness, not totally shutting away. When you have that ability to look into you and embrace wholeheartedly, there's a real time presence to you. When you own that space without blaming the word and the person and the world and the event, it consciously shifts into a higher frequency. Because in this way, you start in the day and you have more presence throughout the day. If you're starting the day from the moment of that, you're starting the day, then the midday, or maybe you're starting the day in the end of the day because you're on a loophole. So do the practice without asking anything. Don't try to find the teacher from your ego needs. Now very gently pull out the buttocks and stretch the legs into the front and release the tension that you are further having by integrating everything into this space. Now bend the knees slightly, pull out the buttocks, arms raise onto the crown, rolling from the hips. To be alive and to be afresh and to flow, you have to accept everything, not getting rid of one thing. When that dark is happened, that is the where the place the light enters, the wound, the difficulty, that's the place that it enters. So now you have the practice to observe very gently. Gently coming back, shoulders roll back, shoulders roll back. Give that spine a little bit more direction. Give the space of the heart a bit more space. Let it elevate the space of the heart. Now, as a lot of teachers say, the place of bliss is the nature of the mind. Suffering is the state of the mind. The sole of the feet together, knees wide apart. Releasing the tension of those hips, groin, knees. Under the ankles, locking onto the toes, walk those bum back, releasing the tension. At this very moment, you are not representing the identity. You have just merged into the space of the truth. You have merged into the space of the life. Now there is a pause in you before you're reacting into the word or to the sensation. Now it gives a choice of who you want to be in this very moment. Now, if you don't have this, what happens? You intrusively, thoughts react and it makes decisions for you. But is that decision coming from a place of fear? Until you face this illusion of fear, there is no peace if you get afraid. When you face and when you work with the sensation, you could see that it disappears. It appears the moment you're tired. It appears when you are totally out of practice. Gently coming back, shoulders relaxed, chest open. Use this class as a place of meditation. Now very gently bringing the left heel onto the ground. Then take a deep breath in and twist the spine to the right. Back to the center. Left arm reaching onto the right toe. And bring the right shoulder, roll back into the groin of the left. Reaching, if you can. Just gently twist into the right side and overlooking onto the right shoulder. Twist and try to get that shoulder blade up, shoulder up, just even that part, just to release the tension. Now observe and start breathing in. See what's happening into that space. Breathe. Gently reach a little bit with the left arm to the right toe and coming back and releasing the tension. Now take a moment and change the side and do the same thing. I'm not going to the full posture. I just want you to open up a little by little. Now very gently right, reaching onto the left toe. Left shoulder roll back. The idea is that, and you're looking up onto that. And you're very gently allow the body to not to submit into this difficulty, not to submit into this story, not to make it bigger than the word. Of course, there are things that you have to deal with by yourself. That's why the practice is coming. Don't get something to carry you by numbing it. Grow up and meet that space. The moment of the peace is the bliss is ending of the mind control of this game that you call yourself and protecting from the other. Gently coming back. Shoulders relaxed, chest open. Both knees to the chest. Arms rest onto the ground, feet stretch up into the Navasana. Breathe out, knees to the chest. Keep your chin up. Breathing in, elongate the posture. Knee to the chest. Breathing in. Breathe out. Breathing in. Breathe out. Breathing in. Hold on to the knees and gently rock the spine. Gently, 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 and roll back. Roll back. Roll back right onto the back of the head. Now lifting onto the top of the right knee. Dropping that onto the left side. Arm stretch onto the shoulder heights. Or looking onto the right side. Observe and releasing the further tension. Observing the practice very gently. Observing the space that you are in. So now it is a time to release the tension that you don't have to explain yourself to the others. You don't have to make sure that the others understand. By that, you're taking their energy. You're not making anyone happy. You're not regulating and interfering. You're not managing their insecurities. You're not making their fight and battles less. You're not healing anyone's wounds. And to be the version of you in their mind. You're not pretending to be anyone anymore. You're just making yourself so that you can express the practice. You make the practice feel safe. You make all the energies of the chakras to spin in that energy. You're making the mind safe from a place of clarity. So you're creating emotionally validating spaces. You have become active listener to yourself. Back into the center. Right knee on top of the left, dropping onto the right side. Opening up. Change in the formation of the legs. Change in the head. Opening up, releasing the tension of the Reiki. Now there is nothing that you have to impress to you or to any. You are in this very moment the best success of your life. Don't think you need to add anything. Don't think that you have to take anything out. You have come into that space. So some things, if they have come and gone, maybe they are meant to come back later. When you're more understand, when you're more matured, when you're more grow, when you're more healed. Things just fall apart for no reason. So it will take time. And come into the match, into the frequency of your growing and your growth. So come back without losing the hope. Bring the knee. Very gently, feet close to the buttocks and tuck the tailbone under and come into a bridge. What is truly meant, what is truly resonating with you will always find you. No matter in your mind how far it has gone, how far you have lost it. You can do the bridge, or you can find a pose or a tabletop, coming down very gently. Now bring into a seating position by rocking the spine. Take a moment to twist the spine to the right and onto the left. Take a moment to stretch the neck onto both sides. Take a moment to shrug the shoulders, tilt the head back. Open and close the jaw. Take a moment. Bring that harmony into the place. The harmony is witnessing. Harmony is, or witnessing is, observing the difficult conversation and see it is the space of the witnessing is the solution. It does not make the ego feel less secure. So it will reassure things in the way of fear. This is a very good moment. Bring the palms onto the namaskar position and finding yourself in the space of observing. And very gently take a deep breath in and breath out. You just forgive yourself for not being able to see yourself in this awakening life. Take a deep breath in and breath out to forgive anything, whether it's a parent, whether it's a relationship. That love, that under the name of love, under the name of this, that, that you were holding into these pains. Or you were looking at in the places that necessary awakening you, but brought into more space of restriction, limitation. Arms very gently raised back to the crown, cleansing the space of the aura. Let that vibration of the teaching to lift up the frequency of their energy comes onto the namaskar position of that place of gratitude, place of awakening, place of the teaching, place of a community gathered here to celebrate this space of awakening. Namaste. See, namaste to you all. So we are going deeper into the practice, not because of anything, because the voice in the mind can get more louder and louder and louder. And when that becomes, it goes like, I need more space. But what you're saying is, I need a space from the word and not giving the sensation into the word. Absolutely everyone has excuse to be in this place because they say, but this is, I'm protecting myself. How could you protect yourself when you are sleeping with the enemy? It's poetic. Mind is not your enemy. It's your tool. But if it runs you, then you have left the steering wheel to a bad driver. So you understand this. It's very important. You don't have to come birth after birth after birth after show your success in this space of understanding and realization. You just need a moment to awake. You just only need a moment to awake and remind yourself constantly. So the practice is just the reassuring that space we forget when we start doing and doing and doing, we totally get pulled out from the sense of celebrating the space. Uh, Energy is in the forms of atoms and they have never gone anywhere. They just changed the forms. It's another study to understand on an intellectual level. What is lost is never lost. What is gained is never gained. It's just energy moving into the space of forms. So don't get caught up in it, but celebrate it. But celebrate it. There is no part in my life that I don't celebrate. But I celebrate everything, even my dark sides, I celebrate. Uh, Otherwise, there are communities built up on the marketing side of this. Uh, So that's why I don't even travel into these communities anymore, like Bali and Ubud and all this are very spiritual, but now it's just an act. It is not a realization. When you're sensitive, you feel the frequency of this vibration very quickly you feel it. They'll disturb more under the name of yoga, and that will disturb you more than a fear. So this is why it's very important for you to find the right place of right awakening and to be in that space of the practice. And my love always for you. I so eternally grateful to wake up into this class and come and see you all in this space of love and holding the space as one without a separation. And remind us, of course, we are having human chats. Of course, we have human frustrations. Of course, they are part of it. But observe it, claim it. You cannot heal until you really know your wound. You can't run away from your wound because you keep the wound not healing. Because the wound is your story, so you keep on scratching on it because that is the story that you're begging for. You're not a beggar, you have come into this place to celebrate and enjoy everything, not to beg for things. I love you, Sylvia. I love you, Rebecca Des. I love you, Maria and Sage. I love you, Matt. I give my love to your father and say to him, I'm missing my love to Pamela. Or and to many, many people who will join this class. Love you all. See you soon. Bye.